Good day, podcast community. PeteKane here, Podcast Pete and lifestyle coach. We have a coach on the podcast, and I want you to put down all your stuff because you're going to want to listen. First of the year, it's a new year, and you got to have new goals, new challenges. So, Cliff, we wanted to make sure you would come on at the first of the year so we could challenge our audience to write those books. So tell our community who you are, what you do, and who you serve, and then we'll get into your story.
Sure, Pete. Well, first, thanks for having me on and being the first one of the new year, so we can get those books that the people were going to write last year and they didn't do actually come to fruition this year. So I'm Cliff Poloni. I'm CEO and founder of I Did Author Publishing, and I just help coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, experts turn their genius into professionally published and profitable books, just as a summary.
I love it. You just warm my heart when you say that. And so I've always been around people, and I love to ask them, have you ever written a book? And what I hear is, yeah, I want to, but I don't know where to start. So let's go back, like when you first put your big toe into what you're doing, what was it like to start the journey of writing the book, and then share with our audience what it felt like when you finished your first book?
Sure. Well, Pete, part of that is that I go back. I came out of corporate. I've worked for companies at all different levels, from startups to mid-size to Fortune 4. And gosh, I don't know, 15, 18 years ago, a long time, I came out of corporate and I started a video marketing agency before video was really big. And as most people know, if you start something new, it's especially as a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, it's an uphill battle. And getting traction was a little difficult, right? A lot of people. And I've always wanted to write a book. And I thought, well, this is a perfect time to do it because I have some ideas around what I'm doing. So I wrote a little book. It was a great book. It was a little book. And then I used it in a way that I tell my clients to do. But I started sending it out in advance of reaching out to people. And it really changed the conversation. So it was just, before it was like, who are you? Don't bother me. Don't waste my time. Then it was like, oh, Cliff, let's talk about how you can help. So the authority was immediate. It was just a fantastic tool. The way I felt, just like anybody else, I always say people have a book in them. People have multiple books in them. A lot of the time it's just which one they should be writing first. But there's nothing better than the feeling of taking some knowledge that you have, experience or stories, and then going through a process, putting it down, and then feeling that physically in your hand, having it show up mostly through Amazon and through the mail. And then I always tell people, I just love leaving it on my coffee table because it's a great conversation piece, or like pick it up and they're like, oh my gosh, you wrote this? Yeah. So it's a tremendous feeling. And after I wrote that book, the first book, and it really helped me quite a bit. Other people saw that, Cliff, this is really helping you. Can you help me with my book? And I said yes, and I just kind of snowballed into a publishing and coaching company. I always liked books. I always spent time way back in the library. What a better way for someone to take some accumulated knowledge from someone else that might have taken years or decades. And then you're able to read that, extract that, and learn things. And so there we are. I have clients from all over the spectrum, from ex-NFL athletes to national speakers to functional health medicine to doctors to attorneys to chefs to little old ladies who run women's shelters. And even right now, my oldest client is Roz, and she's 96. And she decided at age 50 to become an attorney and practice for 42 years. So if Roz can do it, anybody else can do it.
That's beautiful. I once, this was about 3 or 4 years ago, I had a gentleman on my podcast, and back then I'd always ask, like, he had a new concept, and I said, how do you go to market? And he goes, I cold call. I said, you cold call? And he said, yeah. I said, do you know that that's the hardest thing you could ever do in your life? He goes, yeah, I'm tough. But I want you to share with our viewers, what's the difference when you started contacting people without your book which I think is cold calling. And then when you sent the book ahead of time, they got a chance to know Cliff. Kind of dive a little bit deeper into that feeling that and the confidence, because I think it gives us tremendous confidence when people are going like, tell me more. They're interested, not you're bothering them.
Yeah, there's a reason why the first part of the word authority is author, right? So it's an immediate type of thing. Like you said before, one of the things that people want to do is write a book. That's one of the, I forgot the percentages because it changes. So there's some value and credibility in taking some knowledge that you have or your skills or experience and putting it down into a book format. Even though the video is big and people are still, they're consuming more audio and things like that, there's always going to be value in a book, and it's always going to be an immediate authority piece. It came, that old saying, they're the expert because they wrote the book on it. Well, that still holds true. When someone, let me give you an example. So I've got some clients who had a lot of great information, great knowledge. They were great speakers, all this stuff, but they were kind of unknown, and they wanted to do more speaking engagements. And they were having a tough time because, like, who are you? Right? Who are you? So we ran through the process. We came up with a great book for them. We created a one sheet for them, which is just basically an outline of what they speak about in their book and all that stuff. And then I had them send the book out to the same places that they'd reached out to before, but now this time there was a little book and with their one sheet. And it was amazing to see the responses they got back, because the authority and the credibility that a book gives them versus just reaching out, right? And like you said, people want to know more. They want to know, okay, so you have taken your skills and experience, and you're at this level. It's kind of like being in a club. So you must be legitimate. You must be at the next level. You must have a story or a system or something to share. So it's you need to put that into a book.
Yeah. What do you think is the hardest thing for people to get a hold of when they're starting that journey?
Sure. It's a great question. Actually, I explored this a lot last year, and after doing hundreds of projects, I got a pretty good handle on it. There's a number of things. One is feeling like, or knowing that they actually have a book in them, right? That they're worthy of writing a book. Because a lot of people are like, oh, who would want to listen to me? Only experts write books. That's no one's. I don't know what to write about. And that's the second one. Really, is what to write about. What specifically from who is your audience? How this book should be designed, what topics you should cover. But it's really about the right book for you to write and who to write it for. And then the other part, that's kind of the other part is and then how to get the information out of your head and into your hand. That's what I always say. That's like, we got to go take you from idea to author. All that information, all that knowledge, all that experience is in your head, and we have to find out a way to get it into your hand. And I found through doing a bunch of books and working with all kinds of different people that there's three types of authors. Really, there's writers, there's verbalists, and there's modifiers. And I'll run through these really quick. So a writer is someone, just like they say, they can sit down and they can just on a pad or computer and just bang it out and just write pages and pages and pages. I'm not a writer. There's not a lot of people are. Some people are really great, and then they write for everything. The second one would be actually modifiers. I put it out of order, but it's modifiers. And these are the people that are really good at taking something that's maybe pre-written, what could be their own work, and then turning into something that's more polished and ready to be handed over as a manuscript. And then the last one are verbalists. The verbalists are the people that are really good. If I were to say, okay, we're gonna.
Hey, Cliff, can I stop? Cliff, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Cliff? Can you hear me?
They can just release their knowledge and just go on. And then we just have to take that and put it into a type of manuscript form. Really, a lot of people are.
Hey, Cliff, can you hear me? We're having some audio challenges. I'll wait till he comes back because he is frozen. Oops, there we lost Cliff. Okay, so let me just give you a little bit. We're gonna have Cliff back, but evidently we have some audio issues. Sometimes there's connectivity, there's open tabs. That's the. Hey, Cliff.
Yeah, I know what happened. I'm wired in. I don't know. So we're losing connection.
Yeah. Why don't we do this? Because we do have, because you were frozen.
Yeah.
And was I frozen at any time?
Yeah. Early on, about 5 minutes in, you weren't frozen, but I could hear you intermittently.
Something, because one time do you have any tabs open by any chance?
No, I'm trying to see. Let me see. I got Outlook open. I've got a Word document open, but no.
I usually test it before and I got sidetracked.
They closed down Word.
Okay. Keep talking.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. Nope. I've got
okay, talk about
the minimization down. Let me close down. Say again.
Do the last one, which was verbal, because that's when you froze. We'll try it, and if it isn't, we might really, yeah. For some reason, why don't we do this? I will send you another link, and because it's the audio, something's not right, and maybe restart your computer. I'll do the same,
sure.
And let's see because if audio isn't right, it's going to be difficult for people to get the value.
No, you got to have to. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll send you another link.
Send me the link. I'm going to restart.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Cliff.